So welcome again, everyone, to this afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you are, to this introductory webinar about the GenAI for Geospatial Challenge EMEA edition. My name is Julia Wagemann from Thrive Geo, and together with Phil Cooper from AWS, we will give you today a short overview of the challenge and also why we do this challenge and why GenAI for Geospatial is a great pathway to follow and to be involved in. This webinar is recorded and is also a chance for you to ask questions on the challenge, any question you still have about participation, how it works. We will go through all the rules and requirements and modalities, but at the end, there's also room for additional questions you have. The way how we do questions is via Slido, and I ask you here that you can connect all either via the QR code or via slido.com and then entering the hashtag GeoAI. I just give you a short opportunity to also join Slido. All right. So again, just remember GeoAI is the code to enter into slido.com. And yeah, so before we give you an overview of the challenge, I will now invite Phil Cooper to give a few welcome remarks and also an introduction on GenAI opportunities on AWS. So Phil, welcome to this afternoon to this webinar.
Thank you, Julia. And yeah, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody who's joining us. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Phil Cooper. I am the Geospatial Technical Business Development Lead for AWS Public Sector. And the work that we're doing with Thrive Geo, Women in Geospatial, and Lunate AI is promoting this challenge, the $650,000 of AWS credits, which we've secured to support the projects and programs. And my focus over the next few minutes is to talk a little bit about what we're seeing at the moment with regards to artificial intelligence and geospatial. I'm going to reference the tools that we have available to be used in this challenge, and then a few examples or a few ideas perhaps to get you going in terms of how you can effectively take advantage and work with us. But one of the big things we did when we ran this challenge last year in North America, and I'm really looking to emphasize again, is this is about collaboration. Collaborate with the data providers, collaborate with each other, because it's only by collaborating we will all understand, benefit, and gain value from a topic which many people are still getting to grips with. And so this is collaboration and working as a community to elevate AOGI. So that's my contact details. If anybody wants to drop me a note, happy to follow up afterwards. You can find me on LinkedIn and Kinder Row, and you could all guess maybe why that's so. But right, onto the first slide then, please, Julia. So every day, I'm talking to customers who are trying to navigate this AI revolution. They ask a lot of similar questions. With all the noise in the AI market in particular, when working with geospatial data, why should we build our AI future with AWS? And the answer lies not just in what we offer today, but really in the 2 decades long journey of democratizing AI and machine learning that we have done on Amazon. Our focus, my focus, is working with geospatial professionals as we try to move analysts closer to data. And so allowing many others to see the value inherent in the now petabytes and even exabytes of geospatial data being created every day. When satellite operators, when geospatial analysts first started generating data 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, I don't believe that anybody really anticipated or really considered the fact that we will be at the exabyte level of data now in terms of volumes being created. And the other thing as well is, I think as geospatial professionals, we have obsessed over perfecting the process. We've spent countless hours aligning labels on roads, perfecting the shade of blue for water bodies, meticulously perhaps overlaying different data layers. But the uncomfortable truth is that while we're polishing the pixels, the real value of geospatial intelligence is often left untapped. And with AI and with the ability to start asking questions, and certainly as we see this growth of a trillion-dollar generative AI industry, what we want to do is give you the tools to start actually focusing on that. Let me take you back a little bit. Before chatbots captured the world's imagination, AWS was building ML workloads for recommendation engines to supply chain optimization, for example. We've taken these learnings, these battle-tested approaches, and made them really available to every organization, regardless of their size or AI expertise, through the services that we now have in Bedrock, in SageMaker, in Nova, and the chipsets that we have within French and Training. We've taken decades of experience and we're putting that together into the ability to do multimodal agents connections, not single agent access, multimodal, and that's going to be a really important part as we all try to take advantage of this growing sector. Next slide, please. It's really important at the core of, in particular, generative AI, that we're leveraging the latest advances in machine learning. It's not magic, but the latest evolution in technology that has been evolving, what makes foundational models special is they can perform so many more tasks because they contain such a large number of parameters that make them capable of learning complex concepts. Machine learning previously was quite a sort of a straightforward process, which is one concept followed by the next. Today, and through their pre-training exposure, perhaps to internet data, to internet scale data in all its forms. But foundational models today learn to apply their knowledge within a wide range of contexts. So while the capabilities and the resulting possibilities of a pre-trained foundation model are amazing, what customers are really getting excited about is that the generally capable models can be customized to perform domain-specific functions that are differentiated depending on their business, and perhaps only using a small fraction of the data and compute required to train a model. What we're going to see is, rather than access to the sort of the large-scale data models, domain-specific models being created, and we want to help you, give you the tools to build those specific models, and then you can have data sets that you're working on, perhaps specifically to perhaps climate change or perhaps to a specific data set in a part of the world, and then aggregate that with other models to get much more specific results. So it is training, it is powering the models. Next slide, please. Within the geospatial world, there's a number of areas that we've already started working on, and hopefully you'll get a chance to take advantage of this. The first one is sort of how do we enhance satellite imagery analysis, perhaps through predictive scenario generation. FMs train on more data than models in the past and do so in an unlabeled manner, and this is also changing. FMs perhaps were trained on years of satellite imagery data, and now we're integrating other data sources on potentially detect undiscovered patterns over large scale time spans. I often talk about the massively underutilized Landsat. We have a 52-year archive of Landsat data available on Earth on AWS, still not utilized enough, in my humble opinion. Plus, we can add new data sets and generate predictive scenarios based on those, with applications perhaps in meteorological forecasting or environmental and urban planning, all by improving that augmentation. The second thing really is, how do we improve object identification with training data sets and augmentation, perhaps using synthetic generated data? The ability of generative AI within models to use FMs, we can generate perhaps millions of unique labeled images easily and at low cost to supplement similar labeled data sets, and use those large combined data sets to train computer vision models. The results in a higher testable accuracy for the computer vision models. We can improve our accuracy, we can improve our speed, and we can improve our output. But to deliver better query results using natural language, the standard, how are we going to interface with that satellite imagery, it could be seen as expensive and time consuming. So what we want to do now is use an FM perhaps to index imagery and search using natural language queries. And I have a few examples coming up at the end that we're already doing. The other thing, of course, is critical is keep imagery secure by detecting doctored images. So this is also something that we need to be acutely aware of. How do we maintain that security? How do FMs determine if an image has been doctored with using a variety of indicators like inconsistencies, for example, in the file layout, or repetition perhaps of parts of existing data. So we can use AI to actually spot the hallucinations that are around. And then really the other part I always suggest, an area of the industry which is much underused, considers the UX. What's the user experience going to be? As we figure out how to create our FMs, as we enhance data, as we do analytics, who's interfacing with that? Because we have a phenomenal opportunity to take geospatial data, satellite data, GPS data that was traditionally in the hands of the specialists and make it available to the masses. But we have to think about that experience. And so part of the challenge was, what does that experience look like for somebody perhaps who's never used geospatial data to start getting the value that we understand from it? Next slide, please. So when you're ready to build, when you've got your ideas and you want to do securely and responsibly, where do you start? As I mentioned, we continue to reinvent for our customers, and we have a variety of services across our performant infrastructure that you can take advantage of it, whether it's Amazon Q Business to build insights and automation, whether you use Amazon Q Developer to do the software development cycle, so generating code and checking the quality of that code. At the heart is Bedrock. Bedrock, we've already started taking, rather than just having that chatbot interface, but Bedrock is now becoming very good. For example, I'll show an example later of creating spatial queries, automatically generates the queries. So from a natural language interface, you ask a question. I think it's where are granny flats best placed. It turns that into a spatial query. It queries the SQL database and it delivers an output. And often people just think about using AI as a search engine. Actually, what we're already seeing is customers generating code from it, generating spatial queries from it, generating maps from it. And then when you're building these models, whether it's with things like SageMaker, which is the machine learning tooling to have a look at, or taking advantage of chipsets that are designed specifically to improve performance, either AWS Trainium or Inferentia, these are all chipsets available to you in this challenge to use the credits to speed up the production and processing. And it's still so early in the game as well. So we're really excited to see what people come up with. Next slide, please. No matter where you are really on the journey, no matter your industry or size, there are some recommendations that hold true for each customer when using generative AI. The first one is go in eyes wide open. Generative AI is still at a very early stage of technology. So think about your project, your program, or your company building a culture of continuous experimentation by having all these services available into the cloud, by having all the SageMaker for machine learning or Bedrock for the AIs. You can continue to evaluate different models, and it prevents early dependency on perhaps a few selected AI products, because there are new models being generated all the time. So that's important. Second thing is flexibility is key. So continually innovate requires having flexibility free from technical or contractual lock-ins. As an underlying scale cloud infrastructure, we support third-party generative AI integration. And I saw things like Titan and Gemini and Llama and Bedrock. And there are so many services you can take advantage of this. And this industry is changing very, very quickly. So it ensures you get long-term flexibility and busy value in a very quickly changing environment. No one size fits all. The last time we did this challenge in North America, we saw an incredible array of examples. So think of generative AI as an enhancement of your application landscape workflows, not a replacement. Requirements in enterprises often highly differ based on financial resources or security needs or governance and skills. So evaluate based on the scenarios that you need to look at in depth. And then the last one, something that I'm always being told by my wife and kids is listen and enable. Always work backwards from the customer challenge. So we will be interested. What are your customer challenges that you're trying to solve this, really almost repeat back again what's the challenge, listen to domain experts, and there's a lot of them around at the moment, to identify the key drivers that could make or potentially break your generative AI application. And then look at the skills, and part of this process, you're going to have access to skills and the team here and Thrive Geo. We have solutions architects. We also have our partner CloudScaler, who are offering to build a landing page for no cost for you. There's a lot of skills available to them. So take advantage of that, take advantage of those skills, and therefore enabling you to bring the right tooling together. Next slide, please. So what are the challenges we're seeing at the moment in modern geospatial industry? And I've touched on this a little bit. Everything from explosive growth in data, historical data preservation and access at scale is essential for longitudinal insights. But AI needs data to learn. So the cloud gives you the ability to scale storage to train, fine tune, and improve models. Complexity demands real-time insights. Sometimes we do on-orbit data processing. Sometimes we do simulations. Sometimes we are not just building one digital twin, maybe multiple digital twins. So we're seeing this in geospatial. We're seeing a lot of worldwide ground access. There's also definitely a shift now from not just maps and geospatial and Earth observation, but also IoT sensors aggregating with geospatial. IoT sort of had, I think, a rise and a plateau. IoT with geospatial is definitely coming back at pace, as we all have smart glasses now, we all have gauges, we all have IoT sensors, bringing these data sets together, fusing data sets together like never before. Complex, unstructured data sets together really is allowing us to get some really specific insights. So start thinking about the profiles and the personas of the people accessing those data sets when you do your service. Next slide, please. So just as a couple of examples of customers who have already started this process that we're working with, I want to give you some examples. The first one is our customer ISI. So ISI had the problem statement there of oil spills, which pose significant environmental threats for obvious reasons. And traditional methods can sometimes be a little bit slow or even weather dependent. With AI and SAR now, we have been able to work with ISI using SageMaker to do persistent monitoring. We've automated the change detection. We've sped up the predictive analytics and faster alerts to authorities. So taking some real challenges here, and more about ISI's application will be presented at reInvent. So if anybody's watching reInvent, but a really good example of where we've automated more of the process, we've improved the data intelligence, and now we've delivered on those services. So that's a really important part of the process. Next slide, please. In fact, when we first started, we started with some basic information. What would Claude 3 come up with? And you took a simple image, and I recommend everybody now go and do this in Party Rock, which is our experimental environment. Go and just test it out, try things out, experiment. Pretty good, actually. Pretty good experiment. The first image and the waterway appears to be relatively clear. Second image, it gave us information. But as we train more of the models, as we perhaps added maybe a private data model as well, we could get much more insight and actions from that intelligence. So, we've been working with this for some time now. Next slide. And what I would also point out, and this is some experimentation I did as well, which was, this is an aerial image showing Quest Field. This was pretty good in Seattle. So I believe one of the people on the line is in Seattle. It understood that. It got that. It gave me a nice, clear response. However, and this is the always thing to be aware of in your experimentation. Next click, please. Right. So this, it's done it with that. So this is my beloved Leicester City Football Club ground. When I put it into Claude, it didn't necessarily get it right first time. And so one of the things, it actually told me that it was Rangers, which was interesting. I ran it again, then it told me it was Leeds. Then I ran it again, and eventually I gave it to Leicester City. So the model is still improving. So we all need to make sure that we improve our models, but also be aware of the intelligence we get from it. Next slide, please. Yes, didn't get it right. So what I would sort of recommend you start looking at, we have a thing called partyrock.aws, which is where you can go and start experimenting, building your apps. And you can build all sorts of applications in this. I did one with cricket performance optimizer. How do we optimize the performance of cricketers? I invite everybody to go and test and experiment and create your first apps. The point being is it's incredibly easy to get going. It's incredibly easy to take an idea and test it out. Please go test, come up with a concept. You can upload images and CSV documents. It's all secure, so you're not sharing it with the big wide world. It's just your own environment, and that's important about Bedrock, which is security is our top priority at AWS, and that exists all the way through this process. But it allows you as an individual or as an organization or as a collaboration to start saying, well, how would this application look? How could we build it? And I will invite you to try Potty Rocks. Next slide. And within it, you have a whole bunch of models available, whether it's Claude or Amazon Nova, which is in there, or Llama or Mistral. Those multimodal agents really give you that chance to experiment, see what responses you get, and fine-tune your application, fine-tune your model. There is so much accessible through these cloud applications as well that you can really, really sort of take advantage of in this process. Next slide, please. Right, so this is just a really good example of something we've built to give you an illustration for a geospatial. So in this instance, we've got Amazon Location Services presenting the maps, and then a chatbot. So if you could just run the movie for us, I'll talk through a little bit about an example here, perhaps ideas for people to go. So the natural language inquiry is which zones allow build of a granny flat. Granny flats, for example, are permitted areas of development for small extensions. So what's happened is that natural language query has gone into Bedrock. Bedrock is basically creating the spatial query from the Postgres database in the background, and it tells you what it's going to do. It gives me assistant. There's a scratch page. You can always see what's going on. That transparency is key. And then the next part is whilst we're waiting for that to give us a response, it will then hopefully then present the outputs on the map. If we give it a second here, and in that process, it's generating that area of interest. So can you just click on the video, please? There we go. There you go. So it gave me a response, it gave me an output. Which zones allow granny flats, and map it. Live demos are always the best. But we've got a series of these examples, and it means that the output not only is a report, but in Bedrock, you can actually use Amazon Locations API, or you may have other APIs you want to feed in the background that can deliver the map outputs. So there we go. So draw a polygon. Oh, it's interesting. My video doesn't seem to be catching up with me quite as fast as when I ran it earlier. Oh, yeah, mark them. Yeah, mark them on the map, please. And it goes away. It checks that query, and what we're changing here is that there we go. So now it's telling me where those granny flats are. It's generated the code. It's giving me a report. Right. Thank you, video. So we're already thinking about how does that enter. So think about how you would traditionally have done a process. In this instance, you would have perhaps created a spatial query in your GIS. You would then have had to export it and put it. This is all doing it through natural language, and that experimentation is allowing that process to go really fast. Right. Next slide, please. And we're already seeing the outcomes of some much bigger projects and programs, such as the work we're doing with Valet Mining and our Evolution, part of Hexagon, where we're now delivering petabytes of data being analyzed, aggregating with IoT sensors for biodiversity to help Valet Mining deliver intelligence reports to the government ahead of the provision of closing mines. So this, we've had experimentation at a larger scale. We're starting to see it. And in this instance, Vale has 120 mines across Brazil. And when you start aggregating data sets together, you start creating the persona of I want to close mines but preserve biodiversity. This has been a really powerful project, which we've done with our Evolution, which is being presented at COP30, interestingly, next month, where when you pull all this together with machine learning and AI, you really get some phenomenal output. So that's a much bigger output. Next, please. On a more sort of regional level as well, in Africa, we work with Degas, and what we were trying to do was promote regeneration amongst the farmers in Ghana. Here again, aggregating agricultural expertise, satellite data, and proprietary data to suggest optimal regeneration practices for about 46,000 farmers in Ghana. So here again, Bedrock being used as an interface, accessing data models in the back end. Next slide, please. And yes, I'm part of the Aerospace Satellite Solutions team. We have a space division, and just as although I'm not suggesting anybody wants to, well, you could if you want to, but we've also faced it with Alexa, and Alexa is now running on the International Space Station with Axiom, and just thinking about that interface. In this instance, we're not going to key things in where it's a voice command. And in fact, Sean Gorman, and one of the winners from our challenge last time, was using voice commands on glasses to identify locations in the field. So great example here, again, where AI machine learning is really, really changing the game. And it's actually, there's a foundation for AI-enabled voice assistants on board the International Space Station. So we're seeing some really, really exciting applications coming out of this. So that's me. I think that's all of it. Right. So I wanted to cover the topic, some of the tools, and a few examples. We have got a list of demonstrations and examples, and I'll make this available to people who want access to how others are doing it now. And this is changing all the time. It's sustainability, physical climate risk, hybrid data sets, geospatial data lakes, building FM models. I would always recommend one of our customers, Made with Clay. If anyone's seen how the embeddings model, that's an open source model available. Take advantage of that. The topic is accelerating. The volume of data is accelerating. We want to give you the tools and the funding through this challenge to go and experiment and develop new applications and services that we will never have thought of, but we are here to help. So that's me. Thank you very much for my time on the webinar. Julia, back to you.
Thank you so much, Phil. And yeah, for setting an excellent, setting the scene of the GenAI for Geospatial Challenge EMEA edition. And yeah, it's basically now the ball is in your hands. So Phil gave you already an excellent overview of ideas AWS customers already came up with, but also the tools that are available on AWS to tackle some of the challenges and to have bold ideas with GenAI and Geospatial. And now it's up to you. And I will give you a short overview on what is available for you to make some of your bold ideas happen. So the challenge itself, what is the GenAI for Geospatial Challenge? It brings together innovators, industry leaders, practitioners, together with cloud resources and AI tools to really tackle, explore, and expand what is possible and for big impact applications using geospatial data. So we are looking for bold ideas, for ideas or tackling challenges that you've never thought it was possible. It all started, as Phil already said, it is not a first edition. It all started already last year in 2024 with a North America edition. And there already 12 winners pushed the boundaries of what is possible with GenAI and geospatial data. Two of the examples are here. For example, LuxCarta developed Bright Earth, a web-based AI platform that enables users to generate on-demand 3D geospatial data from anywhere on the planet. Or Spark Geo, they developed BN Genius, which is a digital expert for biodiversity net gain policy and geospatial context application. So these are just some examples. And the question is now how you can come in and how can you actually beat even these ideas the 12 winners from the past edition came up with. So why should you apply? Phil already touched a bit on it. So there is 650,000 worth of AWS Cloud Credits available, but not only the credits. Together with the credits, you get also support for a landing zone support from the AWS Partner Cloud Scaler. You get, if you need, technical support from AWS. And also, in addition, you get as participant in the program a opportunity to join a community, to get visibility and recognition. So we will also want to highlight your ideas and your projects you are working on. So there will be many opportunities also for you to gain visibility and recognition. How does it work? The program itself is split in 4 phases. So we had a kickoff event at the beginning of this month in London, and this was the official launch of the challenge and the submission phase. So between 8th of October and now until the 7th of December, you have the opportunity to prepare your proposals and then to submit your ideas until the 7th of December. So think about bold and big impact applications, so bold ideas. Then between the 8th and 12th of December, we have the award phase. So we have a judging committee of renowned experts who will then go through all the submissions and all the ideas, and we will select the winners of this EMEA edition. And the winners are announced then on 15th of December. So mid of December, the winners of this edition of the challenge are announced. And then between 15th of December and 15th of April, this is the build phase. So this is really the phase where you take the credits and the AI tools that are available on AWS together with the landing zone support from Cloudscaler and also technical support from AWS, where you can start building and building your idea and realizing the application you submitted. So this is where the development and the innovation happens. And then after the 15th of April, there will be, we call it a show phase. So this is where we want to celebrate your outcomes. This will definitely be also together with a geospatial industry event in April, May. So during spring 2026, we will celebrate your outcomes. We will show the results you developed and celebrate your participation in the program. Who can apply? So we started last year with the North America edition. So now we are in the EMEA edition. So any individual or company authorized to do business in Europe, the Middle East, or Africa is eligible to apply. We also often get a question whether you can partner with another company or with a research organization who are specialized in a specific field. Yes. We strongly encourage you also to partner with a company or research organization you would like to partner, and specifically if it's also helpful for your project idea and your proposal. What are the selection criteria from the jury? So as I said, when we, after the 7th of December, we have a renowned jury who will come together and who will go through all the proposals based on a set list of criteria. And these criteria are 6-fold. So as we mentioned already, we really look for bold ideas. So really think of pushing the boundaries, what is possible at a moment. And important is also to see, okay, what is the potential impact of your idea you're proposing? So this is one criteria. The other criteria is technical solution. So what is the technical sophistication? What is the tools you want to use? And also the amount of credits you need for your application and your idea. Is your idea also scalable? So do you think big? And even if you plan to develop a small pilot or a small MVP, is there the potential to scale it and to have a large scale impact and application? Another criteria and aspect we also look for if there is commercial potential. So if you develop a pilot or an MVP, but is there also potential that you can bring it further and there is additional business you can also make out of this idea? Important as well, because we talk about GenAI for geospatial. So we also look for your innovative uses of geospatial data in your application and the idea you propose. And what's also important, do you propose a team that we also believe is able and has all the relevant and necessary skills to implement this idea? Because in the end, it's like a limited time. So ideally, you also propose already a team that is ready to get started with the cloud credits you receive, and also the additional support to actually and to realize your idea and a proposal. So what's next for you now? It's basically, we look forward to your proposals. Again, the deadline is the 7th of December, so you still have a bit of time. So you can go through the website, thrivegeo.com, and then GenAI Geospatial Challenge. We also have, again, the QR code. Important as well, like if you have colleagues or you have ideas who could be interested, please help us also to spread the word. Again, any individual or business that is registered in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East is eligible to apply. And yeah, with that, we really look forward to your proposals and your ideas. We can't wait. And then we will see if there is any additional questions. So this is also today now an opportunity if you have additional questions to ask. So you can either go to Slido and enter the hashtag GeoAI, or you can also, if you feel comfortable, unmute yourself and also just speak up in the Zoom call now. So there's one question, if there's a template you can use for our submission. Yes, if you go to the website and then you go to submit your proposal, then you will be redirected to a form where we specifically ask you to fill in for each of the criteria we look for a specific section. And we also don't look for proposals with 50 pages. So the input you can give to the form is also limited, because we want to be, we want for you to be quite precise and clear and practical in what you want to submit and also realize and work on. So there is a template. You will be guided by the form that you need to fill in to submit your proposal. So the most amount of credits that can be requested. So this is as we said, like the entire amount is 650,000 worth of AWS credits. We will, based on the proposals that are coming in, we will also decide. So for now, for the proposal phase, think big, so like also reach the maximum amount of credits you need for your idea and your challenge you would like to tackle. But we are not set in stone specifically, because we also want to see what proposals are coming in. So we will also select based on all the entire pool of proposals we are receiving. How many winners will be selected? This is a bit related. So we don't have a maximum amount of winners. So last year, as we touch based, we had 12 winners. So 12 projects were selected. And we will also see, like, it all depends on the pool of high quality proposals we are getting. And we will then select just the best proposals we think will have the highest impact. So what are the geospatial data sets provided by AWS for this challenge? Yeah, so there's a set of geospatial data sets available definitely on the Open Data Registry on AWS. I don't know, Phil, if there is also additional geospatial data sets, and if you would like to also elaborate on that. I don't know if you... Or maybe Phil might have already jumped off. So have a look on the Open Data Registry on AWS. So this is definitely...
Hello.
Oh, sorry, Phil.
Can you unmute me and turn my video on? Sorry, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. So just you can probably hear me, but you can't see me. That's probably...
We can hear you. Yes.
That's all right. Okay. Yeah. So in terms of the data sets, yes, please take advantage of the Open Data Set forum as well. If there are data partners that you are interested to want to connect with, let us know. We have worked with, a lot of Earth observation customers as well, and Planet also worked with us last time in North America. We can obviously afford introductions to those organizations. Often with this, we found that open data is sufficient to build the concept, build the proof out. But a lot of organizations do run on AWS, and if you've got a specific question, please drop us a note. If we can, as we did with Planet previously, if we can afford an introduction to ISI or others, then we'll do that. In terms of the awards, once again, a standard award is between 50 and 100,000. But as Julia says, when we set out last time, I think we don't want to be too prescriptive, because just saying 10 only, and we ended up with 12, a good range of awards. That was really helpful. But until we see the opportunities, the applications made, we don't know. As I say, Sean Gorman, with his example, if anybody's seen Zephyr.xyz, is phenomenal use of technology. And at AWS, what we want to do is encourage and promote that. So we may even be able to add some additional support on top of that, depending on what's needed. This is us learning from you, and we look forward to facilitating that with you all. Right, hopefully that helps.
Thank you, Phil. There's another question: if there will be an online forum for applicants to share interests in team members, partners, etc. That's a good question, and actually we haven't thought about it. But if there is a need and an idea, and this would be also helpful for you all, we can definitely think of developing an opportunity where you can express your interest in participating, and then also just dropping some ideas for potential partners you look for. So we will get back on that for you, and please follow us on LinkedIn, because there and also any additional updates we will also make will be on our website. So if there will be this forum, then we will let you know via LinkedIn and also on the website. But it's a good idea, so we will definitely take this from this webinar. Thank you so much. All right, so I think there's no additional questions left for today. So thank you again for joining today's introductory webinar. We hope that we could help you to answer a few questions, and more importantly, also to spark your interest in submitting and being part of the challenge. Again, we're really looking forward to your proposals. Deadline is the 7th of December, 2025. And yeah, thank you again for joining, and looking forward to reading your proposal ideas. Thank you and goodbye. Have a nice rest of the day.